Hello ladies and gentlemen, Green here, and today we are going to do a list on the top 10 artifacts in Just 2 Mobile. I'm going to rank them based on my personal opinion. If you got different opinion, that's okay, let me know down in the comments and we can discuss about it. And I'm going to rank all the artifacts, both the Azure artifacts and the new Apocalypse artifacts, and it's going to go from 10 to 1 with one honorable mention. So with all that being said, if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate to subscribe. A huge proportion of you are not subscribed, and it only takes one click and you can always change your mind. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, we got ourselves the Electro Axe. The Electro Axe is going to give you a 100% chance to steal the opponent's combo meter on a successful swipe right attack. That's pretty much worthless because the enemy is not going to build combo anyway, or at the very least it should not build combo because that means it's going to hit you. Next up is going to deal additional damage to minions and summons. This is going to be useful in certain parts of Soul Race, to be more specific, the fights against boss, Lifesaver, Joker and Darkseid. And coupled with the next part that gives you power bars from every KO'd opponent, this is going to be particularly useful to put this on a combo builder or a character that you don't really care about, like a third character in normal raids when you fight Gorilla Grodd and Brainiac, and kill the minions with that character, and that way you start the fight with full power bars. On top of that, you also receive a 33% health from a KO'd opponent. This is going to be pretty useful in Arena and CA. And you get some buffs for Soul Raid event only. It's going to be average buffs, like not as bad as the Rod, but not as good as the Firebox. It's going to be somewhere in the middle in between those two. So, why is this artifact only number 10? Because in my opinion its only use is pretty much the fact that it can be used to start off with full energy against Gorilla Grodd and the Phase 1. Heard that, it ain't gonna do much for you, because the fact that you get health and energy by killing an opponent is going to be fine, but if you think about it, it's not going to give you damage at all in terms of every game mode except for the Soul Raids. And because it does not give you attack or health, the fact that you kill an opponent and you regenerate health and regenerate power bars is not going to be worth that much, because most likely if you had an artifact that gave you damage, like the All Blades, you would have killed the opponent faster and you would have not taken damage, and at the same time you would have used less power bars to kill him. So it's kind of a little bit of an effect that contradicts itself. The combo steal part is pretty much useless. The only thing that I'm really looking forward to is the minion and summons damage and the power bars that you get for those in normal raids. Definitely not the best artifact in the game, but an artifact that at the very least has a use. A pretty niche use, but still a use nevertheless. So with all that being said, let's get to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we got ourselves Mega Rod. First part of it is going to be 155% special attack damage for 5 seconds after you block a special ability. This is not going to be particularly useful because most of the times you don't block abilities with a character that's also supposed to deal damage. And if you can't really use this in Soul Raid, since it provides the least amount of stats in terms of Soul Raid stats, so yeah, not very good in terms of that. The thing that really makes this artifact stand out is going to be a 100% chance to ignore power steal and power drain, and it's going to actually power steal from the enemy equal to 80% of the power that should have been stolen from you. So this sounds very specific, am I right? And it's going to be very specific in terms of Arena and Champions Arena. But when it comes to raids and Soul Raids, we got things like Phase 3, Emerald Green Lantern fight, and Lord Joker fight. In those specific fights, you are going to have hazards on the ground that are going to power drain you. By equipping this artifact and staying in that left corner of the map, you're going to not get power drained and instead power drain the boss, just by having this artifact and constantly gain power. And this can enable a lot of teams that couldn't hit before hit in Phase 3 in normal raids, and at the same time make you have a far easier time against Emerald Green Lantern and Lord Joker. This is all the way at number 9, higher than Electro Axe, because while with Electro Axe it's going to be optional for you to do that in Phase 1 or Gorilla Grodd and kill the minions, but when it comes to this, it's going to be mandatory if you want to use those specific teams at this specific performance. And for that alone it's at number 9, but at the same time outside of those specific situations it does not provide you with much, so that's why it is only number 9. So yeah, with all that being said, let's move on to number 8. Coming in at number 8, we got ourselves Heart of Darkness. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen that many people using this artifact. I have it myself, but it's not very upgraded. So we might be all sleeping on this artifact, and it might be far more useful than it seems. But for now, it's only going to be as useful as number 8. So what does it do? It gives you additional power generation that is going to last for 5 seconds when you get hit by a critical attack. And while that's a good thing to have, first of all, you need to get hit, and then you need to get hit by a specific type of attack to trigger this effect, so yeah, not the best effect in the world. Next up, you're going to receive a 100% health boost, and that's going to be amazing, and this is the main reason why it's all the way up here. And you have 100% chance to steal the opponent's healing effects. This is going to be pretty much useless in raids and soul rates, and the niche use in Arena and Champions Arena. As well, it's worth mentioning that it's going to give you the highest amount of bonuses equal to Firebox and the Entropy in terms of your soul rate performance, with a whopping 32k attack and 100k health bonus. Overall, a pretty damn good artifact, a pretty damn solid artifact, maybe the third best out of the new artifacts, or the fourth best, but so far we haven't really seen the use of that first passive. It might actually be overpowered, but nobody has been able to really pull something amazing off of this. So yeah, take this ranking over here with a grain of salt, because we do not have enough information yet about this one. So with all that being said, let's move on to number 7. Coming in number 7, we got ourselves the Metahuman artifact. Before I click off the video, let me explain myself. Let me make my state over here, because you are all sleeping on the Metahuman artifact. So this is going to give you attack against tech heroes if you are putting it on a Metahuman artifact. That's going to be obviously worthless and very specific. But the thing that we're looking at is increased healing effects by 100% for the person who has it equipped, and by 50% for your teammates. And the thing that is amazing about this is that 50% for your teammates. This is the best supporting artifact, because there is no other supporting artifact in the game. Tell me one artifact that will benefit your entire team without the character wearing that artifact being the fight. There is no such artifact. The Metahuman artifact is the only artifact in the game that you can put on your character, never tag in that character in the fight. That character never has to see the light of the fight, and the buff from it will benefit your characters that are active. And this is amazing. And at the same time, now with the introduction of the new artifacts, we got more healing effects, especially from the Firebox, and this one does indeed boost the Firebox. So, is this a great artifact to put in your damage dealer? No. Is this a great artifact to put in your combo builder? No. But is this the best and the only artifact that will truly be effective to put on a third character that will never see the light of the fight? Definitely. And that's why it is all the way over here. So, with all that being said, this is, in my opinion, a very underrated artifact, and that's why it is all the way at number 7. Now let's get to the number 6. Coming in at number 6, we got ourselves Claws of Horus. Claws of Horus is going to be an artifact that's going to provide you with some attack. It's going to be 75% out of your base attack in addition to the attack that you usually have, and at the same time you get the chance to stun with swipe attacks and jump attacks the enemy, and that's pretty good. That's going to be worthless in normal raids because the bosses are immune to stun. The amount of attack is not going to be amazing because it's not even comparable to the amount of attack that you receive from the All Blades. But at the same time, it's going to be most likely the best artifact in terms of damage that you can use against Horrific Scarecrow. And it's going to be a pretty decent artifact in Arena. That chance to stun is going to be pretty decent. And at the same time, this is going to be a great artifact in terms of soul rates when you are fighting the tier 3 sub-bosses that have a shield. Talking about Mythic Wonder Woman, and I'm talking about Silver Superman. You just put this artifact on your combo builder or damage dealer if you wish to, and you wait to stun them, and after they are stunned you use an ability and you're guaranteed they are not going to be able to use the super shield to block it. And for those reasons, this is going to be all the way over here. And it's also worth mentioning that until you get yourself the All Blades, in terms of normal rates, this is going to be the next best thing that you are going to have other than the All Blades as an option for damage dealing and as an option to work on. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get to number 5. Coming in on number 5, we got ourselves Radiant. What does the Radiant do? First of all, if the opponent is protected by a shield or a barrier, you can break it with a ranged attack. It's not going to be particularly useful and pretty hard to pull off because ranged attacks are very unreliable, and at the same time they are easy to be jumped off by the enemy's AI, and it often does that. At the same time, you'll get increased damage on a ranged attack. Like, who uses ranged attacks in just a mobile? There's no character, at the very least no enjoyable character that uses ranged attacks. Like, I think Deadshot has something with ranged attacks, but it does not work well for him anyway. So, those so far are pretty useless passives. Why is it so high on this list? For every successful swipe right attack, you'll reduce the defense of the active opponent by 75% for 5 seconds. 75% is going to be a huge amount, but at the same time 5 seconds is a low amount of time. Well, it's enough time to reduce the defense with your combo builder and tag in your damage dealer to deal a huge amount of damage. This is going to be, in the future, as more and more people get it, the go-to artifact in terms of fighting sub-bosses to put on their damage dealers in order to deal, to put on their combo builders, to deal huge amounts of damage. And this is going to be pretty much replacing classic Superman as defense reduction means in terms of the sub-bosses, and that's going to by itself free up a whole spot in your team. In terms of the soul rate buffs, it's going to be average, like not as low as the Rod and not as high as the Firebox. But yeah, overall a very great artifact, an artifact that soon enough will be the go-to for every combo builder. So with all that being said, let's move on to number 4. What were we at number 4? Yeah, let's move to number 4. Coming in at number 4, we got ourselves Kryptonian Regeneration Matrix. This one is going to revive a character once per battle. If it's a level 10, it's going to revive with 74% health. And at the same time, if Superman dies and gets revived, it's going to get plus 100% attack. And that's going to be useful for Superman in terms of arena and CA, but not so much in terms of raids and soul rates. And at the same time, the first thing is the thing that we're going to look at, revive a character. Why is that useful? Because in some certain teams in raids and maybe soul raids, though you shouldn't really use this in soul raids, but for the most part in raids there are some teams that can't really function properly if a character dies. For example, the Silver Banshee team, the one with the Predator Batman, if you equip this Kryptonian Regeneration Matrix on Predator Batman, you kinda have a failsafe. If you equip this on Entangling Poison Ivy when you use the Heartbreaker Harley Quinn team, you got a failsafe. And at the same time, this can be a filler artifact for any character that you don't have an artifact or does not require an artifact. And it's going to be amazing for Arena and CE at the same time. So because of all those reasons, in my opinion, it's going to be the number 4 on this list. So yeah, with all that being said, let's move up to number 3. Coming in at number 3, we got ourselves the Entropy. The Entropy is going to do quite a few things. First of all, it's going to give you a cap of damage that you can take. Any damage that is going to come towards you is not going to be able to deal more than 8.5% of your max health. And that's going to be very useful. Next up, this damage cap is going to be also effective against Darkseid super move in soul raids. That's yet again going to be very effective. Some teams can do it without it, but most teams are going to have a far better time with it. Next up, the hazard and hazard dot damage incoming will be reduced by 95%. That's almost denying it. This works on every mod, not only soul raids. And at the same time, you are going to receive minus 100% secondary effects from hazards, meaning no power drain, no of that weird stuff. And also it's going to give the biggest bonuses for Dawn of Apocalypse raids, equal to the Firebox and the Heart of Darkness. So overall it's going to be an amazing artifact, good bonuses for soul raids, great effects that can be useful in soul raids and can be useful in normal raids in phase 3, and that passive reducing the instances of damage will be pretty useful on protecting your damage dealers. Because you might think like, yeah, in soul raids you can also use Firebox to do that. For some it works better, but for some it works better with the Entropy, for example, Silver Banshee. And in Arena NCA you might be like, well, why would I want this instead of the Firebox? Because the Firebox is going to grant my damage dealer, let's say, if I want him to survive, is going to grant him healing like 3 times. Yeah, But the problem usually when your damage dealer dies in Arena NCA is not going to be that it gets hit twice. It gets hit once and it dies. It gets one-shotted, and this can prevent it. So yeah, for all those reasons, and for the fact that it's very useful against hazards, hazard dot damage, it's going to have that pretty useful cap, it's going to give you good bonuses in terms of soul rates. It is all the way at number 3 in my book. Now let's get on to number 2. Coming in at number 2, we got the Firebox. So, first of all, first passive, when below 30% health, you are going to regenerate back 51% of your max health over 6 seconds, and you're going to get your debuffs cleansed every 3 seconds. The debuff cleansing part means that if you are going to be stunned, your stun is removed, you have dot damage on you, that dot damage is removed. Next up, it's going to replace your rush attack with a teleporting strike that places you in front of the opponent, and you deal additional damage on the rush attack. The additional damage on rush attack is going to be pretty decent, but it's going to also be pretty nice that you got that teleportation, because by using this you can dodge some projectile abilities, you can dodge some ranged attacks from the enemy, and you're going to have a much easier time reaching them. And on top of that, it's going to give you the highest possible bonuses for the soul rates, equal to the Entropy and Heart of Darkness. So overall, it's going to be an amazing artifact. It will be the best artifact for damage dealing purposes for soul rates at the very least, and it's going to be a pretty dang good artifact for tanks in the other game modes that are not soul rates. It's also going to be pretty useful against Horrific Scarecrow or Phase 2 as a replacement for Clouds of Horus. Clouds of Horus will still most likely deal more damage, but this one is a little bit safer one. So yeah. Overall, a very good artifact, all the way to number 2. I guess you can already guess what's at number 1. And I didn't put this one at number 1 because of the fact that it's going to be useful in soul rates, but not so much in normal rates. And it might be a better choice for a damage dealer in CA, but in Arena I would still go with the All Blades to finish the job faster. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get to the number 1. Coming in at number 1, we got the All Blades. This was pretty predictable, am I right? Like, you were expecting this, you saw this coming as soon as you clicked on the video. This is going to give you plus 150% attack on tagging for 30 seconds. And that is going to inflict you with 20% dot damage out of your current health. That's definitely not good, that percentage damage out of your current health, but anyways, your damage dealer should not take damage, so he's not that much of a bummer. At the same time, it's going to give Red Hood 50% lethal attack chance, and at the same time it's going to reduce his super move cost by 5. And that's pretty decent if you equip one of these on Red Hood in terms of the normal rates and use him with a multiverse team. Now let's get back to the attack part. The attack is going to be calculated out of your base attack. So let's say you got a character with base attack 2000, he's going to receive a base attack of 3000 from one stack. And yes, you heard that right. You can stack this. So basically, some characters can stack it up to 4 times. So we're working with 3k. You stack it 2 times, you get 6k. You stack it 3 times, 12k. You stack it 9k. You stack it 4 times, 12k. So this is going to be able to give for some characters up to 14k attack, regardless of the game mode that they're using this on. This works on every single game mode. It's mostly used for normal rates, Arena, and CA. And in soul rates, it's going to be a great replacement for Firebox. Until you get your Firebox around the 4 or 5 level, that's where Firebox starts to perform better in soul rates. So overall, this is going to be the best artifact for the damage dealing purposes, and in my opinion, the best artifact overall because of the raw damage that it gives to you. So yeah, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. Yet again, this was just my personal opinion. Let me know yours down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Dislike it if you dislike it, and I'll see you in the next one.